Deep in the ocean, an orca pod is on the hunt. But these aren't your average orcas. These guys are organized.
Marketing team, did you get those social media posts scheduled for the SEAL migration?
Aye, Captain. We even have an automated notification for all pod managers when they go live.
They use Monday.com to keep their teamwork sharp, their communication clear, and their goals in sight. Monday.com. For whatever you run, even orcas. Go to Monday.com to dive deeper.
Well, I don't see the point in waiting any longer. So let's bring her out. The star attraction, the one you came to see. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Miss Judy Gold.
Now, this is the worst transition, but speaking of biggest fans, you after you do the commish, you do High Incident and get a fucking fan letter from Steven fucking Spielberg?
Yes, girl. Yes, I have it on my wall right up there. It is unbelievable. I could not believe it. So ABC did not pick up the spinoff, which was 2 hours. It was starring me and Michael Chiklis, and my little sister played my daughter in it, by the way. And ABC signed me to a development deal, right? So this series, High Incident, had come up, and Denise Chamian was casting it, and they bring me in, and I auditioned for the first role, and I didn't get that one. So they write a different role. And I went in and I auditioned for that one. So the first role they cast a Caucasian actress, and then the second role they cast my friend Anjanou Ellis, who's an incredible African-American actress. And so then they write this other role for Jessica Helgado, because I really do think that, Charlie Haid at the time, who was doing the show, he wanted me to be on the show. So they brought me in. I auditioned for Jessica Helgado, and Charlie and Denise Chamian tell me, okay, so Steven Spielberg wants to meet you. We're going to fly you to LA. And I was like, oh my God, what?
I would die.
Yes.
I would die.
I was dying. So I get to LA. Denise Chamian,
Wait,
drives me.
Yeah.
What? Tell me. What?
No, I just want to know, what are your parents, are you like, oh my God, like what?
We're all freaking out. We are all freaking out because, obviously he's one of my favorite directors of all time, And
so, were you married at this time? No.
Yes, I was married and I had my first son already.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah, because Jay and I got married at like 24.
I was going to say, your mother let you go to LA, but you're married already.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I've lived 9 lives already. So anyways, I go to LA. Denise Chamian drives me to Amblin Entertainment, and I go in and by myself, and they call me into this conference room, and I'm sitting there, and they're like, Steven will be in just a little bit. I thought I was gonna, have to. Are you alone? I'm alone. I thought I might have to audition. I didn't know what was going to happen. So all of a sudden, I'm sitting there. I'm looking out the window. I'm like, I'm in freaking Steven Spielberg's office right now, about to meet him. It's just going to be him and I. Well, I imagined that it was.
Right.
Who walks in but Steven Spielberg in a little hat with a couple of hats and stuff. He's like, hey, Lise, how you doing? I'm so happy to meet you. I was like, oh my God, how you doing? And at that time, by the way, because I was still living in New York, I had a very heavy New York accent.
Right.
Very like, hey, what's up, Steven? Nice to meet you. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm. And he was like, I just wanted to talk to you and this and that. I was like, yeah, let's talk, So we start chatting. He's asking me about living in New York and whatnot. And then finally he says to me, I can see you as a cop. And I was like, so can I. I think I'm a cop. And that was it. I think it was later that day, Denise Chamian called me up and said, you got the role. You're moving to LA.
Okay.
And that is what jump started.
Okay, I have 800 questions about this. How long did you talk to him, like in his office?
I would say I was there for at least 40 minutes.
Never happens anymore. Okay.
I know.
And this is another thing, sign of the times. You leave that office, a ball of fucking nerves, and you have to wait.
Yes.
And there's no cell phone. Right. So what do you do?
Right.
Did you have a beeper at the time? Like what
I was dying. No. I was just at that time. You know what? I was staying at a hotel, and Denise Chamian, called me on my phone from my room.
Didn't she go back to your room?
And
you had to sit in your room the whole day, right? Waiting.
Well, she dropped me back off at the hotel. She was literally driving me to and from the audition.
Never happens again.
She did that. She was so incredible.
That's so great.
She was incredible. And by the way, when I moved to LA, her mother was a realtor and found me the house that I rented. They took care of me. It's just crazy. It's crazy.
No, but you found out and you were alone in your room?
I was in my room alone. And of course, I start calling everybody. I was like, oh my God! I was so excited.
And each phone call was probably like $50 at the time.
At that time.
And you were probably like, fuck it!
I didn't care. I didn't care. I was like
excited.
It was so exciting. It was so
exciting.
So
then, was it really hard for you to move to LA? Like, was that I know you were going for work, but was it a bit hard transition?
No, you know what? We had some friends. My husband had a friend here, and him and his wife. His wife and I got very close, so she let us move into her house. They let us move into their house with my little boy. My grandmother came to be my nanny, and I had a dog. And we all moved in, and I had to start shooting right away. So I didn't even have a place. And then during the weekend, Denise and her mom drove me around trying to find a place for me to live. And we finally did. And I moved in with my, son at the time was 3 years old. And my grandmother was my nanny. She was.
That's so great.
Yeah. My grandmother, God bless her, my grandma Carmen, who's passed, a few years ago. When I told her, what am I going to do? Oh my God, who's going to take care of my baby? Like, I got to figure this out. My grandmother was like, "Ay, nena, no, don't worry about it. I'm coming with you." That's my supportive family though. That's
so
how my family
beautiful.
is. They're like,
did your mother freak out when you moved?
She was a little bit freaked out that I had to leave, but I had lived away from her before, so she had gotten used to it a little bit. But I think it was more my sisters that were freaking out.
Who are both so successful. So you have this career. You're known as someone who thinks women can have it all, and which I love about you, and that that work ethic of like, you want something, you got to work for it. Like, if you want it all, you got to fucking create it yourself, which is such a you're so fucking emotionally healthy. I can't take it. You're like an emotionally healthy actor. What the fuck is that? And you love portraying.
Hilarious.
It's
not always. I have my moments.
All right.
I have, here's what I always say. It takes a village. It takes a village to have it all. I have a very supportive husband who's always encouraged me for the most part, unless I was going to do something where, he didn't feel good about it. My parents have always helped me. My sisters have always helped me. It takes a village because my mother had a village. My mother was a working mother,
right?
And so my grandmothers helped her, and that's how it was. We help each other. And I really feel like you have to, first of all, make sure that if you fall in love with somebody, that they're your friend, that they support your dreams. And, marriage is not hunky-dory all the time. Relationships are really hard.
Yeah.
But Jay and I, we have a very strong love bond, and we're good friends. And so we work through things. And I really try to help people understand that it takes a lot of
because everyone
selfishness, sense of humor.
Yeah.
Marriage is not easy.
It's so
humor, lots of humor, lots of laughing,
and
and the village. So as my career grew, my village grew, and my support base was there. So that's important.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with a Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
So you get diagnosed with breast cancer. I hate to bring it down, but and it's so fascinating because your aunt had it, your mother had it, and you get diagnosed a week after your sister.
2 weeks after, yep. She got diagnosed, and then I got diagnosed.
And I love, what you say about a mammogram, because, can you tell everyone, because, I also get a mammogram and a ultrasound when I get my breast examined. And women need to get their I have so many friends who are like, I don't want the radiation. I don't want this. Okay, enjoy, but
yeah.
It's so important that I'm touching my breasts as we discuss this. I have my hands
I touch mine too. Okay.
Yeah. But can you just tell people, about it's so, I don't know, so empowering.
Yeah. Can you, it's fear is a powerful thing, and fear plays with our minds. And I understand that, but we have to conquer that fear and just, it's best if we find out about something earlier than later. And that's what I try to talk about. And that's why I believe in the ultrasound, because that's what found my cancer early, my mother's cancer, my sister's cancer, even my aunt's cancer. Like, they found it early, but her lump, she had already had a bigger lump, but thank God, she lived through that. But, I feel like women are so afraid that they understandably so, they make excuses, or they avoid. And then that's the issue, because when it's too far along, that's when it's more difficult. That's when it can be more dangerous. So that the ultrasound, I'm trying to push for insurance companies to cover ultrasound, for women to demand ultrasound, because that's when you see it more clearly, when it's early. It's like looking for a snowflake in a snowstorm. And that's what the thing is, when the snowflake is a snowball, that's not good, So the idea is to get this thing when it's much smaller and much earlier, and the ultrasound sees it. Right. Especially like if you know that this runs in your family, or you have that gene, for us, it ran in our family. We don't have the BRCA gene, but my mother was always on top of us. Like, did you go for your mammogram? Did you this?
Right. Do you think it was, was it a cluster thing? Like, did anyone else in your neighborhood, like, was it, or is it, do you think it's genetic?
No, I think it's genetic. For me, I think it's genetic. The doctors feel like we might have some other gene. They tested all of us, took our blood, but it's forever to figure that out, by the way. Right. But it is, it can be hereditary, and sometimes it's not. We all went through double mastectomies, because the good news was that because we found it early, it had not spread to our lymph nodes. Right. So all our doctors recommended just removing both breasts, so that we don't have to worry about it.
Why have that hanging on your head all the time? Did you get tested 2 weeks after your sister because of your sister?
Here's what's crazy. Okay. When I went to see my sister, I had some discomfort in my lower abdomen, and I thought, wow, I might have a UTA infection. I don't know what's going on. Right. Then I was there with my sister when the diagnosis came through. She got the call that it was cancer and this, that, and the other thing. And I had my mammograms and ultrasounds scheduled anyway. Right. But what the crazy thing was that I called my doctor, and I was like, hey, I'm having this issue and this and that. He says, you know what? Just come in when you get back from San Francisco, come in, and we'll just, do the whole shebang, because I was going to have to leave anyway to go shoot Being Mary Jane, the show that I was doing at the time. And while I was there, he said to me, there's nothing going on. I don't know why you're feeling this discomfort. I'm not really sure, but let's just keep looking. I'm going to do your ultrasound now. And that's when he found my cancer.
Did you see it in his face, or did he tell you right then?
My OBGYN, first of all, I told him about my sister, and he was really sad to hear about that, and he was upset about that. And he always takes his time anyway.
Right.
But this time around, I felt like he was really taking his time doing my ultrasound. And I wasn't even looking at him at the time, and I'm always nervous and scared, right?
Yeah.
And he says to me, "Oh, what is this?" And I was like, "What?"
Oh, no.
Yeah. And he was like, well, this doesn't look right to me. He said, just stay calm. He said, if this is anything, we found it early, but he says, I want you to get this biopsied right away. This doesn't look right. And I just thought, I even said to him, I was like, come on, doctor.
It can't be. My sister.
This can't be. My sister, come on. Are we overreacting? Like I could.
Right.
My head was spinning, and I was, it was Dr. Paul Crane. I was due for my appointment with Dr. Christy Funk from Pink Lotus Clinic. And he said, if they can't biopsy this in the next, day or so, then I'll do it myself. I left there. I called my husband and I said, listen, Dr. Crane just found something, he wants it biopsied, and I have to get into the clinic, but my appointment is like 6 months from now or something crazy like that. My husband said, hang up the phone. I'll call you right back. He called the clinic. He called me back. He was like, come pick me up. We have an appointment at 1 p.m.
Wow.
Like, not playing.
Right.
We went there. Dr. Christy Funk confirmed it. I told her where the area was, and she saw it, and she confirmed that we needed to do a biopsy. She took two biopsies, and then a few days later,
you had invasive ductal carcinoma.
That's right. But I really feel like I was supposed to go to my OBGYN because he was so meticulous about my breast health, and he was supposed to find it. So I feel like it was God saying,
yeah,
I'm giving you this so that he can find this.
So how does that change you as a person? Like, you're fine, you're cancer free, but do you think about it like all the time? Like, does a day go by, or like, how do you, it must have changed you so much.
It did change me a lot. I was going through some very difficult stuff with my older son at the time, because he has drug problem, and I've talked about that.
Right.
And I was going through hell with him, and then I was shooting a very difficult show, being Mary Jane, having to travel, having to be away, in Atlanta, away from my kids. It was a lot of stress on me, and I think stress is the worst thing. It just adds a factor that is really bad if you're predisposed to something, Right. And so obviously that didn't help. So I'm a person I take everything in so deeply, and I feel so deeply that I was really messed up inside, and I think that has a lot to do with the way my body was responding. So what cancer did for me was, first of all, I was super grateful that I had caught it early, and I wanted to live in that gratitude and know what that was like.
Yeah.
And I had decided that I was going to live every day of my life as joyfully as I could, and that I was not going to allow life's circumstances to destroy me.
Wow.
And that I was I got much more connected with my spirituality, with my higher power, God. And I knew I needed to change from the inside out, like my thinking and my reasoning and the way I took life experience, so it does change you. And some people have a much harder time with it, and they go through much more suffering. I have to say, I opted for the easy way out, which was to take them off. I didn't have to go.
So many people would not think is the easy way out.
Would not think is the easy way out. But for me, I was like, my husband was like, look, you get some fake titties, it's all good. He was like, they'll be fabulous. I was like, I guess so. Your head is spinning at that moment, right? You're just trying to make the best choices. But absolutely, at the end of the day, I really have decided to put me first a lot more than I used to, and to take care of myself a lot better than I used to. And like I said, to just enjoy my life and to listen to my heart and my intuition and then go with it.
I love that. That's you said you learned from your acting teacher how to be private in public, which I thought was, when I read that, and I thought, how did I never think of that? But it's true. You're like an actor who has this, people probably see you and like, oh my God, I love you, because you've done so much stuff. But like, how do you maintain that privacy? And like, how do you learn to do that and be kind and rewind?
Well, I think that, I like to be true to myself. And
right.
I like to live my life in a way, I hate to use the word open book, but kind of an open book in that I want to really translate that I'm a human being first.
Right.
Just another person. That what I do is my craft and it's my job, but it doesn't define everything about me and who I am in life in general. I'm many things. And so I feel like I like to make myself as relatable as possible. And my acting teacher used to say, once you lose the humility of being human, you cannot be a great actor.
Wow. I gotta fucking call this guy.
So Tony Abeson, he told us so many things that were so incredible. And he used to say, you can't lose that humility, because then you don't understand the human element anymore.
Right.
If you're on a head trip and you're like, how can you understand?
Yeah. It's like comics who become really famous and they're like, they're not funny anymore because they're not living in the world that we all live in, And
you can't engage anymore, right? You can't even engage with someone who's on a different level than you. You have to be able to keep that, level of humanity so that people can relate to you, so that you can understand what you need to connect to when you tell a story, which is what we do as actors. You know? We tell stories, and so I like to live my life that way, and that's what it's about.
I can't take it. I am obsessed with your you seeing a ghost when you were because that was fucking like, so your mother's friend had died, and then
my best friend had died. I was 12 years old.
Wow.
My mother had just had my brother, and he was newborn, and it was very traumatic, and I won't go into the details of that, but it was my mother's best friend, and my mother was traumatized. We were all traumatized, and I'll never forget the night she died. Literally, she had only been home like maybe a week or so, and she left me there with my baby brother and my sister Tanya, who's my middle sister, because she had to go run to identify her friend and to, see how she can help with my dad. My
God. How did she die?
She fell off a balcony. It's a really traumatic story.
Okay.
Terrible.
No, we're not going there.
Yeah, it was really, really terrible. So anyways, at the time, there were a lot of things that happened where we felt Maria's spirit around us. It was really powerful, and I like to call it more spirit. It wasn't like just ghosts. Hokey. It was a very spiritual thing, and I remember seeing a figure in my room, and it was the figure of Maria, and it was as if. So I was very scared, but my mother explained to me that that it was a good, that it was good. It wasn't a bad thing, but I know what I saw.
I totally believe. Yeah, of course.
And
it's so really good that your mother didn't freak out and
at first, like, some things happened to her where it was freaky, and she was like, oh my gosh. But she understood that, it wasn't a bad thing. It was Maria beside all of us, because it was so traumatic the way she died.
We're dedicating this episode to Maria.
This week's episode of It's Judy's Show with Judy Gold is sponsored by BetterHelp. And if you know me, which I think you do because you're listening to my podcast right now, you know that I am a big advocate for therapy. I think it benefits everyone. I think there's so many people who need it, who don't partake. It is so important for your emotional health and well-being. Therapy is fantastic. It is in every stretch of the imagination. And if you're thinking of starting therapy, please do it. But please give BetterHelp a try. It is entirely online. It's designed to be convenient. It's flexible. It suits your schedule. You fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. I have switched therapists in my life. I've had many, many therapists, and sometimes it's not a great fit for you, but don't give up. Therapy is beneficial. You can learn about yourself, you can process, and just be emotionally healthy. I'm telling you, do it. BetterHelp is great because, when I used to schlep to my therapist's office, it was so annoying. You have to do it, and you sit there and you wait, and then I'm telling you, doing it online is fantastic. And BetterHelp is amazing. I know a lot of people who've used it. So if you're thinking about therapy, go to BetterHelp.com. Let the gratitude flow. This is Gratitude Month, people. So you need to let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/JudyGold, JudyGold, today, and you will get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/JudyGold. You're welcome.
Here you are. You're on this new, you're in this great new show. Are you happy? Like, this fucking quarantine shit, like, how is it because usually you'd be going on every talk show, right?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, we got to take photos and we got to blah, blah, blah. What's going on? Like,
at first it was like, I felt very flustered about it. I felt kind of like, oh my God, what does this mean? Like, what's happening right now? Like, I was in a little bit of a frenzy in the sense of like, how's this going to affect our show? And, wow, all those wonderful things that you get to be a part of, we're not going to be able to be a part of it. We were supposed to have this big premiere in Miami, big premiere here, and all this kind of stuff. Anyway, but it's those moments that when you don't have control and you just have to be still and trust. And for me, it was like, well, Lisa, you know what? Again, I come from a spiritual place. God is working on something. He's got a plan bigger than us, bigger than any of us. And this is a perfect moment for all of us to realize you are not in control. And so, in so many ways, the only thing we can control is ourselves, our own behavior, and not engaging and, being to protect people, thinking of someone other than ourselves. But I almost said, well, as scary as this whole thing is, and as awful as it is, I am finding the gratitude in the fact that people are home watching television and possibly tuning into our show, and getting something good out of it in the midst of all this.
Also, I feel like it's like God or whomever or whatever is saying, stop, just fucking stop. You're out of fucking control.
Yeah.
Stop, stay home.
Yeah.
It's true. You realize you don't have the shit you do. You don't need to do. And we're doing this. I would never get to interview you. I would never get to interview you in person, unless you were in New York. So it's a gift in a way,
It is, and I really don't mean to lessen the blow of, I have friends who have had it, I have friends who have lost loved ones from it. So I don't mean to lessen that blow and the sympathy and compassion that I feel. And I know you feel the same way, toward these kinds of situations and towards all these people. and yet I can still sit back and say, well, thank you for the blessing of the time with my family. Thank you for the blessing of being home and being still.
Right.
After I've been away for 5 months shooting and
Right.
didn't get
And
to
being
spend
together,
time with my daughter. Yeah.
Right.
And just enjoying, by the way, Julie, just enjoying going outside and walking around and seeing clumps of families walking together, bicycle riding, waving.
And appreciating it. And not fucking
spending time together and playing board games together and doing things together. And all of us being outside and swimming in the pool, those kinds of things. Like, and in the same breath, like, being conscientious of those who are suffering because they're not working, who are in a desperate situation, who are relying on their work. Every day of work is important for their income, and just praying for them.
Putting their lives on the line for us.
That's right, exactly. Those people who are driving trucks, delivering packages, nurses, doctors, technicians, hospital workers, people working in shopping centers. Like, thank you, all of you.
I agree. Thank you.
And thank you. I'm so grateful that we get to say thank you to them in this time, because we don't say thank you enough.
Right.
And this is a time when we are realizing the importance of those people who are not celebrated the way they should be.
I love you.
I love you too. But it's the truth, right? It's the truth.
It is. It's like it takes you out of yourself. You're like, oh, what I do affects other people. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, exactly.
I always ask 2 questions of my guests.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, because we're very pro mental health on my show, because I have anxiety, I have depression, I have it all, because I'm a Jew and I'm a Jew. And my grandparents were cousins, so I'm a Jew. So what do you do to keep pro mental health? I know you're very spiritual. Have you ever been on antidepressants or anti-anxiety? We're very pro whatever it fucking takes.
Yes. I have not been on medication, but my son has had to take it because he had a lot of anxiety issues. To tell you the truth, I exercise a lot. Exercise is really important for that. Like, it's a release for me. It completely gets my endorphins going.
Right.
And again, honestly, Julie, I start my day off, like, I sit by my window seat and I have my little corner in the house and I have my quiet time with my cup of coffee. I like to start my day off, first of all, being grateful, thanking God for my life, living in the moment. Day by day. That's why one day at a time is so relevant, right? And just praying about the start of my day. God, help me be in a good place. Bring goodness to me and let me be goodness to someone else.
Right.
It's starting your day out that way, and then going and exercise. Go for a walk. Go for a bike ride. Do something that gets you out of yourself, in the sense that I find like a lot of anxiety and a lot of these kinds of issues sometimes are because we're so intertwined in our own heads and in our own selves that we forget to be unselfish, so that we feel like we have greater purpose.
Right.
And we can give back. We can do something for somebody else that makes us feel good. It makes us feel useful, or, a lot of anxiety is also about control.
Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I can't control this. So it's giving me anxiety. And then so what I've learned, by the way, going back to what you asked me, how it's changed to me, I don't have control. And I need to practice the trust and the faith that God's plan is better and bigger than I am. And I'm going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. And I'm going to be able to handle it one day at a time.
Yeah. And you see how people are reacting to this, not having control over this. And you see who's who.
Like, hello. I told my husband the other day, I was like, baby, I got to get out of the house. I'm going stir crazy. I've been on social media promoting the show. Tons of, and we went out for a drive. We just went out for a drive.
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just got to do that. We'll go for a walk, bike ride, whatever,
Yeah, you got to fucking take care of yourself. Yeah. here's my other question. You know, my podcast is called Kill Me Now because like everything annoys me, and I'm like, oh my God, kill me now. So, what pisses you off more than anything? Like makes you fucking crazy? Like what fucking gets you? What makes you so mad?
I think what pisses me off and what makes me crazy is disrespect.
Yeah.
When people are disrespectful to other people, when people are selfish,
especially to like waiters and bus drivers, and like just say fucking thank you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're not better than anyone else because you have more money or a better job. Like I fucking like when I do. You're probably like that. Like if I do a TV show or something, it's like I want to know the crew. I already know all the actors. You know?
Yeah. Again, disrespect, right? I feel like everybody's important. Everybody should get the same attention. You know, your attention. You should be kind to everyone.
Right.
You know, you shouldn't pick and choose who you're going to be kind to. It's just those are my pet peeves. Like, you know, someone thinking they're so above and being mean.
Fucking annoying.
Yeah. That makes
I know someone who does that every day at a press briefing. Oh God. All right.
I tell you. So that's my pet peeve. That's the thing that will make me go, I call it hood. I go hood on you.
Yeah, right.
You're taking me out of my element of you know, keeping, you know, a certain persona going. Yeah. I don't have tolerance for it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I cannot thank you enough. Like you are a bright star. You're so fucking talented. I'm so happy that you work all the time. I'm so excited for this show. It's gonna be so fucking great.
I hope we get to talk again after you've seen the whole thing, because I can't wait for you to see the whole thing, honestly.
I want that bottle of prisoner wine that's right behind you so bad.
Oh yeah, you got my This is my setup here because this is like the best reception in my house. And everybody talks about, oh, Lisa, then your liquor cabinet. I'm like, I'm sorry, it's the best reception I have in the house.
It's so funny because some people are like, you know, so wealthy and they're doing it in their big fast. And it's like, no, honey, go in the bathroom, asshole. You know, don't like, you know, you got to be a little humble. But I'm coming over for a drink. I'm looking at all that alcohol.
Come on over. My husband's a ex-bartender. He used to have his own bar restaurant. So he can make you any drink.
Jay Cohen, baby. Thank you so much. This was like such an honor. You're such a star and you're such a good person and your message is fucking amazing and you're gorgeous.
Thank you.
Love you about that.
I feel the love. The love.
All right, good.
Thank you so much for listening to part 2 of Kill Me Now with the incredible Lisa Vidal. How amazing was that? If you like the show, make sure to subscribe and leave a review. It helps more people find this amazing podcast. 5 stars only, please. Thank you. Also, if you enjoy my opinion, which if you're listening, I think you do, my new book, Yes, I Can Say That, When They Come for the Comedians, We're All in Trouble. It's now available for pre-order. It'll be released on July 28th. So pre-order now anywhere you get your books. And in case you need convincing, I'll quote my dear friend Amy Schumer, who said, "No one makes me laugh harder than Judy Gold. If I had to pick one comedian to write a book about free speech, it would be Judy." And hello. So there you go. It would mean so much to me if you would check it out. And all pre-order links are on the homepage of judygold.com. So you get to check out my website. Oh, buy my book. Anyway, as always, make sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram for all upcoming viral dates at Judy Gold, at JEWDYGOLD, you know, like Jew Gold. Thank you so much for supporting this podcast, for listening. I hope you're all safe and well. And as we always say, so long!
And everything was wonderful. I'll see you soon. Thank you for the visit. So long.